Leviticus, chapter 15. And Yahweh speaks to Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you have said to them, When there is discharging out of the flesh of any man, he is unclean from his discharge. And this is his uncleanness in his discharge. His flesh has run with his discharge, or his flesh has stopped from his discharge. It is his uncleanness. Every bed on which he who has the discharging lies is unclean, and every vessel on which he sits is unclean. And anyone who comes against his bed washes his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And he who is sitting on the vessel on which he sits who has the discharging washes his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And he who is coming against the flesh of him who has the discharging washes his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And when he who has the discharging spits on him who is clean, then he has washed his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And all the saddle on which he who has the discharging rides is unclean. And anyone who is coming against anything which is under him is unclean until the evening. And he who is carrying them washes his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And anyone against whom he has the discharging comes, and has not rinsed his hands with water, has even washed his garments, and bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And the earthen vessel which he who has the discharging comes against is broken. And every wooden vessel is rinsed with water. And when he who has the discharging is clean from his discharge, then he has numbered 7 days for himself from his cleansing, and has washed his garments, and has bathed his flesh with running water, and has been clean. And on the 8th day he takes 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons for himself, and has come in before Yahweh to the opening of the tent of meeting, and has given them to the priest. And the priest has made them, one a sin offering and one a burnt offering. And the priest has made atonement for him before Yahweh because of his discharge. And when a man's seed from intercourse goes out from him, then he has bathed all his flesh with water, and has been unclean until the evening. And any garment or any skin on which there is seed from intercourse has also been washed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And a woman with whom a man lies with seed from intercourse, they also have bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And when a woman has discharging, blood is her discharge in her flesh, she is in her separation for 7 days, and anyone who is coming against her is unclean until the evening. And anything on which she lies in her separation is unclean, and anything on which she sits is unclean. And anyone who is coming against her bed washes his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And anyone who is coming against any vessel on which she sits washes his garments, and has washed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And if it is on the bed or on the vessel on which she is sitting, and his coming against it, he is unclean until the evening. And if a man really lies with her, and her separation is on him, then he has been unclean for 7 days, and all the bed on which he lies is unclean. And when a woman's discharge of blood flows many days within the time of her separation, or when it flows over her separation, all the days of the discharge of her uncleanness are as the days of her separation. She is unclean. Every bed on which she lies all the days of her discharge is as the bed of her separation to her. And every vessel on which she sits is unclean as the uncleanness of her separation. And anyone who is coming against them is unclean, and has washed his garments, and has bathed with water, and been unclean until the evening. And if she has been clean from her discharge, then she has numbered 7 days for herself, and afterward she is clean. And on the 8th day she takes 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons for herself, and has brought them to the priest to the opening of the tent of meeting, and the priest has made one a sin offering, and one a burnt offering. And the priest has made atonement for her before Yahweh because of the discharge of her uncleanness. And you have separated the sons of Israel from their uncleanness, and they do not die in their uncleanness and their defiling my dwelling place which is in their midst. This is the law of him who has the discharging, and of him whose seed from intercourse goes out from him, to become unclean with it, and of her who is sick in her separation, and of him who has the discharging from his discharge, of the male or of the female, and of a man who lies with an unclean woman.